Angry MGTOW here. And a lot of modern men see women as monsters. Why is it that some modern men see women as monsters? Well, if you look at the court system and the way that their lives have been destroyed by the legal system, it's no surprise. Men have had everything ripped away from them. They've had their families taken, their wealth, their resources. They've been put out and literally left to fend for themselves with nothing. And anything they gain is taken away. Modern women have essentially created a situation where men no longer trust them. And it's like they just aren't learning. I looked at a comment from an older woman. She looked like she was a boomer. And I made a video discussing why women must abandon the victim narrative for the relationship between men and women to heal. It's interesting. One person said, "So everyone's doomed." And this woman responded by saying, "Most women will not understand what you're saying." And it was rather ridiculous, because she's absolutely right. Most of them are so warped, so locked, and so gone in their own victimization that they can't see anything anymore. Her exact words were, "Most women won't understand what you're saying. Most part of what you say is correct. Both sides need to heal as well." But as she said, most women won't understand what you're saying. Most women will not listen to me. Most women will not listen at all, because they cannot listen to reason. They hear only what they want to hear. They see only what they want to see. They see only their narrative. They see only their needs. They see only their problems. And it just seems to be getting worse. It just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. And you keep on thinking, maybe there's some way that we can fix this, some way we can at least get to a point where men can go their way and live their lives, and women, and we're not fighting. Fine, we don't care if you vote, we don't care what the hell you want to do. Just leave us alone and realize that we are not victimizing you. We are not out to get you as men. We are not trying to hurt you. But it doesn't mean anything, because most women won't see that. They will only see the victim narrative. They will always play the victim. When everything goes to hell, when entitlements run out, yet now they will be victims of the government, victims of a patriarchy that abandoned them. Not yet another reason why women need to be in firm control, and why a matriarchy is so vital in society. The me generation just won't stop. And people don't seem to realize that when you look at what's happening in Washington with these marches, the Women's March and the violent protesters, there are a bunch of millennial hipsters. And people don't seem to notice that they're being paid to be in these places. How do they get there? How do they get bus fare to get there? How are they affording this? They're doing it out of pocket? They are being funded. They are being funded by left-wing agendas, by left-wing groups that are trying to topple the economy, trying to enslave society. But they are more worried about getting their free tampons and their free birth control and their free food stamps, their free food through food stamps, their free rent through Section 8, and their special privileges while men get special punishments. To actually take a look at what's happening and realize that everything is going to hell right now. There are some women who realize that things are going to hell, but most will never see beyond it. Even when things are extremely grave, they'll blame everyone else but themselves. A woman will burn her own house down and then blame the government she'll blame the man who made the matches. She'll blame the company that made the matches. They should have known better. It wasn't her fault that the house burnt down. It wasn't her fault that she lit the match and dropped it in gasoline that she drenched on the ground. It wasn't her fault. It was the people who made the matches. Because if they hadn't made the matches, it wouldn't have caught fire the gasoline wouldn't have caught fire and the house wouldn't have burned down. But it doesn't change the fact that she's the one who burnt the house down. But it's the same thing with guns in our society, where we blame the gun, but not the person who pulls the trigger. You look at terrorism in America, and it's funny. We have had so many terrorist acts in the country. And every time we have a terrorist act, and it involves gun violence, they immediately say, it's not the fault of the terrorist, it's the fault of the gun. And the fact that the person had access to the gun, and also, let's not call them a terrorist, let's not say that they're associated with any specific religious group, let's focus on the gun. In the UK, they actually had movements where they said, get your knives out of the house. Surrender your knives, because knives are dangerous. If you notice, in many of the recent terrorist attacks in Europe, as they're pressing down on guns, they stopped using guns. They started using vehicles. So they started running vehicles into mass amounts of people and killing numerous people using vehicles. It's happened in France. I believe it happened in Germany recently, and it just keeps on happening. People who wish to do harm to others will always find a way. And every time they find a way, they find more cynical ways. On 9/11, they took down 2 buildings using airplanes. Airplanes. And they basically made their way to the pilot's cabin using makeshift weapons. And women don't understand. It's like they just refuse to see anything outside of their own narrative. It's not all women. And I have to keep telling myself it's not every single woman on the planet, because if it is, then it's like you just want to give up. But it's the majority. It's the collective. It's the majority of women who think this way and who refuse to see anything outside of their own narrative of what serves their interest. And even when they have everything they want, it's not enough, because they create chaos, believing that chaos will get them even more, along with the excitement that they desire, because it keeps their emotions going up and down and constantly flurrying around. I keep thinking to myself, why is it that women have no self-control? I mean, so many women lack basic self-control. Basic self-control. And none of this is going to change anytime soon. Even as things get worse for women, they will blame everyone else besides themselves. They will say they are victims of society. They'll blame men. Of course, the first thing they're going to do is blame men. They're going to blame men. They're going to say they're being victimized. When that doesn't work, they're going to try to find men to take care of them. Try to find alternatives. Men will not, because the resources are scarce. And the men who have resources are not going to be giving them to women, because men have already learned that marriage is dangerous and relationships are dangerous. So there'll be men who will have sex with these women. There'll be manginas lined up around the block to sleep with these women. But they're not going to marry them. They're not going to marry them. They're not going to have families with them. And these women, and then when and then the final stages, when they have nowhere to turn, many will end up homeless. Many will live in their cars. Many won't have cars, so many will live on the street. And I've said it, we're going to have tent cities filled with women. Tent cities filled with women. And in these tent cities, that's where you're literally going to have cases where women are being abused, being attacked by men who don't care about the law, that don't respect women, who have no self-respect. So they'll do any heinous act, any vile, villainous thing that they please, because no one is going to challenge them, no one is going to stop them, and that's really it. Look at what's happening in our country. Look at what's happening in the United States, where you have these protesters setting fire to things, causing tons of disruption, protest, violence, and they're getting away with it. And they're being funded by these left-wing organizations and protected by the liberal legal system. And I look at the situation and I think to myself, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and that's if it can get better. Women don't want to change, and it's no wonder that so many men think of them as monsters. Some men see a monster when it comes to having a relationship with a woman. They see someone who's going to hurt them. They see someone who's going to harm them. They see someone who is unempathetic. They see someone who says one thing but is going to do another. They see someone who is devious, who is plotting to do something terrible to them. It's no wonder modern men think this way and feel this way when they've experienced so much pain, so much suffering, so many disparities at the hands of modern women. Modern women have transformed themselves into creatures that people, specifically men and even other women, do not trust. The trust between men and women is shattered, and they don't even get it. You know, there's a statement that women are children, and treating women like adults is what got us into this trouble. When they threw a tantrum in the first place, we should never have given in. Because it's been one tantrum after another tantrum after another tantrum. The tantrums will never end. Until an adult stands up and says to a child, no, and lets them firmly know that they are not getting their way. Don't forget that some children are downright outlandish. They will attack the parent. They will throw things. Some children will even plot to kill their parents. That happens. And we see all of those things happening with modern day women, specifically in Western countries like the UK, America, the United States, and even places such as Australia. We live in a society that is gynocentric and has no form of justice for men whatsoever. So it shouldn't shock anyone when modern women behave like monsters, when they behave unempathetic, when they behave like they are above the law, because the law has not been adhering to them. The law has not been keeping them in check. I said it before, men and women are not equal. Men get special punishments and women get special privileges. And it's been like that for a very, very long time. And it's sad to say that it's not going to change anytime soon, because that's the way they like it. When in doubt, say you're a victim. That's how women go forward. When in doubt, say you're a victim. Feminism has literally destroyed any type of trust or relationship between men and women, but more so, it's also destroyed a woman's ability to actually see outside of her limited scope and looking at herself and her needs solely above people around her and society. And they're just going to keep pushing until there's nothing left. Nothing left. It's up to us as men to stand up for ourselves and to go our own way. I like having sex with women. I enjoy it. I really do. But that doesn't mean I'm going to marry them. Doesn't mean that I'm going to have children with them. To be honest, where I live, I've said it, prostitution is legal. And I recommend that all men, if you have to have sex, find ways to do it legally and safely. But don't put your trust or faith in a woman, because you'll be sadly mistaken when she destroys your life. And I'm not saying it's every single woman on the face of the earth, but it's the majority of them. Most women cannot see out of the victim narrative. They won't see out of the victim narrative. And it's this reason, plus their bad behavior, and how they've treated men and destroyed the lives of men using the court systems, the legal system, the government. Why so many men are starting to see them as monsters. Why so many men are starting to see them as obstacles. I want to know if you guys agree that it's because of the way women behave in modern society. Because of how narcissistic, greedy, materialistic, and egotistical they are. Why so many men are starting to see them as monsters. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And also remember, I make 3 of these videos every single day, so please continue. Plus bonus videos. So please go over to my YouTube homepage, click on the Patreon link to leave a donation. And keep in mind that the Patreon pledges help to ensure I can continue to make quality content for you guys. You can leave a Patreon pledge through using PayPal as well through Patreon. But the key with Patreon is that you make a pledge, so you can pledge as little as $5 a month. Keep in mind that YouTube, when it comes to YouTube revenue, it's unsteady, and it really helps to ensure that I can continue to make these videos for you. I'm doing this full time now. I'm trying to do everything full time so that I can continuously put out content for you guys. But I can only keep doing this if you help me to keep doing it. So if you can even donate $5, please donate please pledge $5 via Patreon, not PayPal, via Patreon. You can use PayPal through Patreon to become a regular pledge. And there's all these great rewards, such as getting access to Angry MGTOW t-shirts, exclusive videos, wallpapers, all these other bonuses that come with Patreon. So definitely please check out my Patreon. You can find a link to it in the header of my YouTube homepage, or you can find a link to it in the description of this video. Also, never miss another Angry MGTOW video by enabling notifications by clicking on the notification button below any video next to any of my videos next to the subscribe button. You'll see a pop-up that says send me all notifications for this channel. Just check the box, hit save. If you've already done it, you don't have to do it again. This will ensure you will always receive a notification whenever I'm live streaming or whenever I put out a brand new video. Let me know if you agree that the reason why so many modern men are starting to see women as monsters is because of how egotistical they are, self-centered, manipulative, and narcissistic they are in modern society. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MGTOW or death. And cheers!